Imagine this. You're staying at your friend's apartment for the weekend. Their Wi-Fi password is written on a sticky note on the fridge, right under a smiley face. You grab your laptop, sink into the couch, open a private window, and start typing things you'd never want anyone else in that apartment to see. Old chats, a medical symptom you're embarrassed about, a video you'd never click on if someone was looking over your shoulder. The browser says incognito. The little hat and glasses icon almost winks at you, like a secret pact. Don't worry, I've got you. No history saved. But here's the part nobody told you. Incognito only protects you from your own browser, not from the person who owns the Wi-Fi, not from your internet provider, not from the company logging every domain you visit. On their side of the screen, your private session still looks like a stream of connections, timestamps, and data flowing to places they can log, monitor, or even sell. In 2025, more than ever, your browsing history is not just a list of websites. It is a map of your fears, your secrets, your health, your money, your relationships, and that map is incredibly valuable. So in this video, we're going to answer one uncomfortable question honestly. Can Wi-Fi owners really see your browsing history? And can a VPN actually protect you? Or is that just another comforting myth? By the end, you'll understand what they can see, what they can't, where a VPN is powerful, where it absolutely is not, and a simple way to take back a bit of control over your online life, starting tonight. Let me introduce you to Maya. Maya is not a hacker, not an IT admin, not a tech person. She is a nurse. She works night shifts, drinks too much instant coffee, and when she comes home, all she wants is to watch something dumb on YouTube and forget the day. For years, she lived with a roommate who paid for the internet. The Wi-Fi name was something silly, the password was easy to remember, and that was all she ever thought about security. If it connected, it was good enough. Like most of us, Maya believed three things. First, I'm not important enough to be targeted. She is not a CEO, not a politician. Why would anyone care what she does online? Second, incognito equals invisible. When something felt a bit too personal to Google in a normal tab, she just opened a private window and relaxed. The little hat icon felt like a shield. Third, if something was really dangerous, there would be a big red warning. She trusted her browser to shout at her if anything was seriously wrong. Then she moved. Her new apartment was cheaper, in a busier part of the city, with an older landlord who proudly said, "I installed very fast Wi-Fi for tenants. Everyone shares the same network, no problem." The router sat in the hallway, blinking quietly. The first few weeks were normal. Netflix, YouTube, social media. She logged into her banking app on the same Wi-Fi. She called patients on video from her laptop. She ordered medication and had it delivered to the building, all on that shared network. One night, during a long scroll, she searched something she had been quietly worrying about for months. A health symptom she had never said out loud. She used incognito, of course. She read articles at 2 a.m., clicked through forums, watched a couple of very specific videos about it, and finally fell asleep with the laptop next to her. 2 days later, her landlord knocked on the door. He wasn't angry. He was amused. He held up his phone and said, half joking, "Hey, you young people search for interesting things at night, huh?" On his screen, she could see the router interface, a list of connected devices. Under her laptop's name were rows of domain logs, sites she remembered visiting, medical portals, video platforms, even a strange-looking website she had clicked by mistake. Her stomach dropped. In that moment, she realized that, to him, she was no longer just the new tenant. She was a pattern of searches, a collection of late-night worries, a list of websites that painted a picture she had never consented to share. And then things escalated. Within a week, her email pinged with a security alert from a streaming service she barely used. New login from an unfamiliar device. Then her shopping account asked her to verify a purchase she never made. It was small, but it felt like someone had started testing the lock on her front door. What Maya didn't know is that she was living in the middle of a quiet storm. In the last year alone, billions of personal records have been exposed through data breaches. Entire databases of emails, passwords, and browsing habits are traded like cheap goods. At the same time, Reports show that more than half of adults in some countries have had their data leaked at least once, many of them multiple times. Add to that millions of unsecured public and semi-public Wi-Fi networks worldwide, and you get the perfect mix. People who feel too small to matter, using networks that treat their lives like open books. Maya's landlord was not a criminal mastermind. He simply had access to the router logs. Someone else on the network could have been scanning for weak devices, trying default passwords, or waiting for one careless click. For Maya, the turning point was not the first suspicious email. It was the feeling that her private, messy, human late-night searches were no longer hers alone. That someone else, somewhere between the walls and the cables, had been silently watching where her mind went when she thought nobody could see. If you've ever Googled something at 3 a.m. and felt relieved that at least it won't stay in my history, this story is not about Maya. It is about you. So how did Maya end up in that place where a stranger could read her fears off a screen? It wasn't one big mistake. It was a chain of small, very human ones. First, there is the story we quietly tell ourselves: I'm not important. When you feel like just another user in a city of millions, it is easy to believe that nobody would ever spend time watching your traffic. But attackers don't care about your name. They care about patterns. A valid email and password combo. A device that has not been patched in years. A person who reuses the same login everywhere. To them, you are not a character. You are an opportunity. Second, there is convenience. Reading terms of service feels painful. Learning what DNS or encryption means sounds exhausting after a long workday. So we click accept, allow, continue, and move on. We share Wi-Fi passwords like sharing snacks. We let apps access our location just once and forget to revoke it. We connect to any network that doesn't ask too many questions. Third, there is the myth of magical buttons. Incognito sounds like a cloak of invisibility, so we assume it hides us from everyone. In reality, it only tells your browser not to save your history on your device. The Wi-Fi owner still sees the sites you connect to. Your internet provider still sees the domains you reach. Many websites still build profiles of you based on cookies, browser fingerprints, and login sessions. The button feels powerful, but it doesn't change where your traffic goes. The same happens with tools like VPNs. Some people install a VPN and instantly relax. Now I'm completely safe. In truth, a VPN is more like a private tunnel between you and a server somewhere else. It can hide your traffic from local Wi-Fi owners and make it harder for your provider to build a profile on you. But it does not stop you from giving your password to a fake site. It does not clean malware off a compromised laptop. It does not protect what you willingly post on social media. Then there is the missing system. Most of us have no structure for our digital lives. We have dozens, sometimes hundreds of accounts tied to one or two passwords. We never made a list of what truly matters: email, banking, health, identity documents. We don't know which devices are logged into what. We have never checked which apps are quietly reading our contacts, our microphone, or our photo library. In that chaos, every new Wi-Fi network, every new app, every new sign-in with button becomes another open door. Finally, there is the environment itself. The modern internet is built to watch. Free apps survive by tracking everything they can. Advertising networks stitch together your behavior across sites you never realized were connected. Data brokers buy and sell information about your location, your interests, your purchases. Even if you never get hacked in the dramatic Hollywood sense, your digital shadow is constantly being copied, reshaped, and passed around. When you put all of this together, Maya's story stops looking like bad luck and starts looking like something close to inevitable. A person who feels too small to be interesting. A routine of sharing and reusing access without thinking. A belief in magic buttons that promise privacy but only partially deliver. A total lack of a personal security system. And an online world that treats every click as another piece of data to harvest. The point here is not to make you paranoid or to blame you for not being a cybersecurity expert. It is to show that what happened to Maya is not about intelligence. It is about design. The digital world is designed to keep you scrolling, not to keep you safe. Once you see that clearly, you can stop asking, "Why was I so stupid?" and start asking a much more useful question. Given how this system really works, how can I live in it without giving away everything? That question is where real online privacy begins. Let's flip the script for a moment. Most content about Wi-Fi privacy sounds the same. Hackers are bad. Companies are greedy. Governments are watching. All of that can be true. But there is another uncomfortable piece almost nobody talks about because it doesn't fit in a dramatic thumbnail. You and I give away our privacy voluntarily. Think about the last week. How many times did you connect to a new Wi-Fi network without asking who controls it? How many login with Google buttons did you click just because it was faster than creating a new password? How many apps did you let access your camera, microphone, or location because you were in a hurry? When you add it up, you realize something harsh. The Wi-Fi owner is often just the last person in a long line of people you've silently trusted. And then there is the myth that one tool will save you. You see it in ads all the time. Just install our app and you'll be safe. For some, that magic app is an antivirus. For others, it is a VPN. But here is the twist. The moment you believe a tool makes you untouchable, you are easier to exploit. A VPN can hide your traffic from your landlord, your workplace, or the coffee shop you're sitting in. It can make it much harder for your provider to build a detailed profile about you. But if your laptop is already infected, your passwords are already reused everywhere, and you keep clicking on fake login pages, a VPN is like wearing a bulletproof vest while leaving every door and window in your house open. There is another side to the "I have nothing to hide" argument, too. People say it as a joke. If someone wants to watch my browsing history, they'll just be bored. But your history is not just about guilty pleasures. It reveals where you bank, which airlines you use, what school your kids attend, your political leanings, your health concerns, your sexual orientation, your religious questions, your late-night fears. It is a psychological X-ray, not a list of URLs. The strange thing is, we would never leave a printed copy of that X-ray on a bus seat. Yet we think nothing of sending it across unsecured networks, trusting that no one in the middle will ever look too closely. Here is the perspective shift that matters. The goal is not to become a ghost. Trying to disappear completely online is exhausting and, for most people, impossible. You still need maps, banking, messages, work tools, streaming, social media. You still need Wi-Fi, including Wi-Fi you do not control. The real goal is to understand what parts of you are exposed where, and then shrink that exposure to a level you can live with. That means accepting 3 truths. First, you will always leave some footprints. Even with a VPN, even with encrypted apps, even with good habits, there will be metadata, logs, patterns. Second, you still have real power. Changing a few habits, which networks you trust, how you manage passwords when you turn on a VPN, which permissions you grant, can move you from wide open to much harder to abuse faster than you think. Third, the biggest upgrade is not in your software. It is in your attention. When you stop seeing Wi-Fi networks as harmless background utilities and start seeing them as other people's cables and computers, you behave differently. When you treat your browsing history as a diary instead of trash, you feel different about whom you let hold it. So instead of asking, "How do I disappear?" a more realistic question is, "How do I live a normal online life? Use Wi-Fi I don't own, and still keep the most sensitive parts of myself out of reach from landlords, bosses, random strangers, and data brokers?" In the next part, I want to give you a simple, practical way to do exactly that. No paranoia, no perfection, just a framework you can actually use without quitting the internet. It is not about fear, it is about clarity and small, consistent protections. Let's turn all of this into something you can actually use. Think of your online privacy as a small apartment with 3 doors, the accounts you use, the devices you touch, and the networks you connect through. Our goal is not to build a fortress. It is to stop leaving the doors wide open for anyone who happens to walk by, including the owner of the Wi-Fi. Step 1. Map your digital footprint. After this video, grab a note app or a piece of paper and write down 3 categories: identity, money, and everything else. Under identity, list the accounts that define who you are online: email, main social media, cloud storage, maybe your password manager if you already use one. Under money, put your banking, payment apps, trading, shopping accounts. Everything else is streaming, forums, newsletters, games. Most people discover they have far more important accounts than they thought. They realize that if someone hijacks just one email, they can reset almost everything else. That awareness alone makes you more careful about which Wi-Fi you are willing to trust with those logins. Step 2. Lock the basics. Pick your identity and money accounts and give them the kind of protection you wish your front door had. That means unique, strong passwords stored in a password manager, not in your Notes app or your brain. It means turning on two-factor authentication with an app or hardware key, not just SMS codes that can be intercepted. Then, on your devices, do a quiet cleanup. Uninstall apps you don't use. Remove browser extensions you don't recognize. Go into permissions and revoke camera, microphone, location, and contact access from anything that does not truly need it. The fewer moving parts, the less a Wi-Fi owner or attacker can poke at. Step 3. Treat untrusted Wi-Fi like a crowded bus. Any network you do not control, the landlords, the coffee shops, the hotels, the airports, should be assumed curious by default. Before you log into important accounts on those networks, turn on a reputable VPN that you trust and that has a clear no-logs policy. That way, the Wi-Fi owner sees an encrypted tunnel to the VPN provider instead of a neat list of all the services you use. But do this with awareness. A VPN does not mean do anything, anywhere. Avoid logging into banking or sensitive work tools on completely unknown networks unless you have no choice. When you do, double-check the website address, use 2FA, and avoid clicking links from email directly. Type addresses yourself. Step 4. Reduce leak points. Your browsing history is not the only place your life leaks out. Old accounts you never close, newsletters you never read, cloud folders you forgot existed. All of these are potential future data breaches. Once a month, set a 20-minute digital maintenance timer. During that time, delete accounts you no longer need, unsubscribe from services you don't use, and remove saved payment methods from old sites. If a Wi-Fi owner, a breached company, or a data broker gets a copy of your history, the damage is smaller when less of your life is scattered across the internet. Step 5. Build one new habit around networks. From now on, before you connect to any new Wi-Fi, pause for 3 seconds and ask, who owns this, and what am I willing to show them? If the answer is my landlord, my school, my boss, a random cafe, then limit what you do there. Use it for public information, maps, music, maybe casual browsing. Save sensitive logins, private conversations, and anything involving money for connections you control, ideally behind your own router and, when possible, a VPN. This framework is not dramatic. It doesn't require you to disappear into the woods or memorize 64-character passwords. It is about putting a little friction between your true self and the networks that want to turn you into data. When you combine this with the right tools, including a solid VPN used intentionally, not blindly, you move from easy target on someone else's Wi-Fi to inconvenient, high-effort project. And most attackers, most snoops, and most lazy systems are not built for high effort. They are built for the lowest hanging fruit. Your job is simply not to be that fruit. Let's step back from routers, logs, and tools for a moment and talk about what this really feels like. Because when people talk to me about online privacy, they rarely describe it in technical terms. They describe it in emotions. They describe that cold flush in the chest when a new login from unknown device email arrives. They describe the mix of shame and anger when an old private photo suddenly appears in a group chat. They describe the weird, violated feeling of seeing ads about something deeply personal they only Googled once, alone, in the dark. Losing control of your data is not just a security issue. It is a dignity issue. Imagine someone reading your journal without permission. Not just the polished parts you post publicly, but the raw, messy pages, the half-finished thoughts, the fears you are still testing in your mind, the searches you made at your lowest moments. For many people, their browsing history is exactly that journal. When a Wi-Fi owner, a company, or an attacker can see that history, you are not just afraid of being hacked. You are afraid of being seen in a way you did not choose. And yet, in the same breath, most of us quietly trade that fear for convenience every day. We click accept all cookies so a pop-up will go away faster. We sign up for loyalty cards that track every purchase just to save a few dollars. We leave every app logged in on every device so we don't have to remember passwords. We share passwords with partners, family members, roommates, telling ourselves it is no big deal. There is a strange contradiction at the heart of the online life. We crave freedom, the freedom to explore, to learn, to search anything, to talk to anyone. But we outsource the protection of that freedom to companies, governments, and landlords who are often more interested in data than in dignity. We want safety, but we treat safety like something someone else will handle for us. This is not about guilt. It is about responsibility in a world that was not designed for your well-being. The internet amplifies whatever habits you already have. If you are careful and intentional, your risk shrinks. If you are impulsive and scattered, the system turns that into profit for someone else. The good news is that you do not have to transform your personality to become safer. You do not have to become paranoid or perfect. You do not have to hide from every network. You only have to care about yourself enough to draw a line and say, from here on, I'm not going to treat my private life like free content. That might mean deciding that your kids' photos never get uploaded to random apps. It might mean that your late-night searches always happen behind a VPN on a network you control. It might mean finally cleaning up those ancient accounts tied to an email you barely remember. Whatever form it takes, protecting your privacy is less about fear of others and more about respect for your own story. Because behind every user is a human life. The nurse who just wants to Google a symptom without her landlord seeing. The teenager who is questioning something about themselves and needs time to figure it out without an algorithm labeling them. The parent who is quietly paying off debt and searching for help without wanting their employer to know. When you start to see the people inside the data, everything changes. You stop asking, why are people so paranoid about Wi-Fi? And start asking, why did we ever think it was normal for strangers to watch our lives through cables and screens? You cannot fix the whole system. You cannot stop every breach or change every law. But you can refuse to be completely transparent to anyone who happens to own the router you are connected to. And sometimes, that small act of respect for your own boundaries is the beginning of much bigger changes, both in how you feel about being online and in the kind of example you set for the people around you. So where does all of this leave us? If you feel a little unsettled right now, that is normal. The honest truth about online privacy is never comfortable. It is easier to believe that incognito is enough, that nobody cares, that the Wi-Fi owner is too busy to ever look at logs. It is easier to pretend the system is kinder than it really is. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are not powerless. The world of 2025 is brutal to people who stay on autopilot, but surprisingly kind to people who are willing to be just a bit more intentional than the average user. You do not need a degree in cybersecurity to protect yourself from nosy network owners, lazy attackers, or hungry data collectors. You just need to care enough to stop being the easiest option in the room. Today, you learned 3 things that most people never fully connect. 1. Wi-Fi owners, internet providers, and platforms can often see far more about your life than you realize, even when you use private modes. 2. Tools like VPNs are powerful, but only as part of a bigger picture that includes your passwords, your devices, your habits, and your sense of boundaries. 3. Your privacy is not an abstract technical topic. It is your health, your relationships, your money, your secret searches at 3 a.m. It is the quiet part of your life that still deserves respect. Now I want you to do something very simple when this video ends. Before you click away, decide on one concrete action you will take in the next 24 hours. Maybe it is turning on 2-factor authentication for your main email. Maybe it is installing and configuring a trusted VPN on the devices you actually use on other people's Wi-Fi. Maybe it is cleaning up a few old accounts or changing a password you have reused for years. Whatever it is, say it out loud or type it in the comments. Make it real. If this video has helped you see your online life a little more clearly, if it has put words to a fear you never quite knew how to explain, I would genuinely love to hear your story. Tell me about a time you felt exposed online, or a small change you made that made you feel safer. Your comment might be the reason someone else finally decides to stop treating their privacy like an afterthought. And if you want to keep going, don't just rely on the recommendation algorithm. Click on the channel avatar, open the description, and explore what we have built there for you. You will find links to VPN options I personally consider part of a sane, realistic security stack, not magic shields, but useful tools when used with intention. If you choose to sign up through those links, you support this channel, and, more importantly, you invest in one of the few tools that actually reduces what a Wi-Fi owner can see. Most importantly, stay curious. There are more videos coming where we will peel back other layers of your digital life, stories of real breaches, step-by-step breakdowns of how attackers follow your online footsteps, and practical ways to stay ahead without living in fear. I will not spoil the next topic just yet, but I will say this. If you have ever wondered how much a stranger can learn about you using nothing but a handful of leaked data and a few open networks, you do not want to miss it. Until then, take a breath, close this tab when you are ready, and remember, you may be using someone else's Wi-Fi, but your life is still yours. Protect it like it matters.